Hello. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm, I'm laughing because I have this app on my phone that sets off a mindfulness bell, and it just went off right as I started. So dong, class has begun. So thank you so much for joining in. To anyone who's new, a very warm welcome. Um, at the end of this video, there'll be a link at the bottom if you'd like more information. And a warm welcome to any return visitors. So I've entitled this talk "How to Start, Live, and End Your Day" from a spiritual perspective, and I'm going to offer some simple ideas and some simple principles, really, for how to begin your day, how to end your day, and what to do in between. And actually, life is a lot easier when we start our day correctly, when we end our day correctly, and then, of course, if we live correctly, if we strive to live spiritually. And what I'm going to offer today are really simple principles. Life can become quite joyful and quite fun. Definitely challenging at times, but we're going to cover some of the tools or principles that'll help you meet those challenges. So first and foremost, how to begin your day. Very simply, with the recognition that as human beings, to have a good day, what we need is energy. Vital life energy. So when we wake up in the morning, it's the beginning of the day. And what is the day but all sorts of activities? We're going to be doing, let's just pretend it's the morning now. The gong went off. Good morning. So it's time to start the day. And let's reflect for a moment that to have a good day, I'm going to need energy to do all the different things. Some, to interact with people, to do different work, to take care of all the little nuts and bolts of life. We actually need energy for all of this. And there's a very simple way to take it in. And I'm going to lead you through that practice now. And this is a beautiful way to begin the day. Please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards, back in a relaxed, upright position, not leaning against the chair, if possible, and then close your eyes. And now please open your mind to the possibility, for anyone who's new, to the possibility that there is such a thing as vital life energy that we can just directly take in and absorb. And then open yourself, whether that means your heart, your soul, your being, to receive this energy and have the intention to receive it, and observe your body, noticing what you feel, having the intention to take it in, take this energy in. So we'll sit in silence for a few minutes, and I'll come in and out with some reminders to observe, and the practice is to observe the body, noticing what you feel, having the intention to take this energy in. Just coming back to noticing what you're feeling, having the intention to take this energy in. Coming back to this simple practice, observing the body, intending to take in vital life energy. Intending to take this energy in, so I'm going to talk and read a little, and I invite you to continue doing this practice, taking in this energy. And so, when doing this first thing in the morning, you want to do it until you feel full, till you feel full of life energy and ready to take on the day. Now, what's next? Well, interestingly enough, there's a very ancient Ayurveda practice, which is from Indian medicine, which was also, you could say, approved or confirmed by this man, Bruno Gröning, who all of what I'm sharing today is based on his teaching. And that's first thing in the morning, you actually want to have a bowel movement. It's very important to wake up the digestion. And as Bruno Gröning said, these are I can't remember his exact I don't have his exact words, but I'll paraphrase is you don't you don't when you're cooking something, you don't put something new on the stove until you've cleaned out all the gunk. Ayurveda says that having a bowel movement first thing in the morning just really awakens the digestive system, and it transitions the body from a state of sleeping is actually a very profound activity. And all sorts of things are going on while asleep, and having the bowel movement according to Ayurveda just it is really mm, switches the body into its the different mode of awakeness and lights the digestive fire and gets the body prepared for a day. So first you take in all this good energy, then you release some of what's left over from the yesterday, and then getting on with your day. Now, how to live. Now, of course, each person here has different life circumstances, um, and there are a few general spiritual principles that are applicable to everyone. First and foremost is to watch your thoughts. Every thought has power. Every thought moves us in a certain direction. In essence, there's really no such thing as a neutral thought. All you need to do is observe your thoughts and behaviors, and you'll see this. What I've noticed is that before every action I take, there is a thought that moves me to that action. And thoughts have a profound effect on our emotions. We all have experienced this in one way or another. For example, I was just meditating a little bit right before this gathering. I was having this wonderful meditation, having all these good feelings, and all of a sudden, this thought came with someone who I had a conflict in the past, and I was imagining having another conflict with them in the future, and my stomach was all suddenly just tensed up. We've all had that experience of we're having a nice day and then a negative thought comes. And if we really take the thought in, suddenly it has a really negative impact on us. So, all throughout the day, it's very important to be mindful of which thoughts you say yes to and which thoughts you say no to. So, let's sit with this for a minute or so, really reflecting on what I just said. And please don't believe anything I'm saying here. Please find out for yourself whether it's true or not. I'm not here. I'm not here saying that anyone should believe anything I should have said. I'm just sharing what's worked for me and what I'm utterly convinced is true. But what's important is that you find out for yourself whether or not it's true. So let's spend a little more time observing the body, taking in this vital life energy, noticing what you feel. Taking in the good, So we've looked at taking in healing life energy. We've looked at emptying the body of the waste from yesterday. We've looked at beginning to monitor our thoughts. Now, another very important principle to navigate the day is staying connected to the divine. Now, every person here has their own definition of God, and some people don't even like the word. I didn't like it for years because I was taught the most horrific things about God. I would call it the divine. Now I have my own definition of God, and I'm very comfortable with the word. But regardless what you call it, there is all around us. In my direct experience, and many other people have had this same experience, that all around us is a divine presence, energy, power, and that life goes a lot better when we're connected to it. And so that's the next principle to look at, staying connected to this divine presence. Now, um, there are many ways to do that. There are many spiritual traditions, many spiritual practices. Each person needs to find what works best for themselves. Bruno Gröning invited people to observe their body all day long as a way to stay connected to this divine energy and force. Personally, keeping my attention centered in my heart really helps me stay connected to the divine, and also to remember that the divine is in everything and in everyone. Now, this at first takes effort, and in fact, can take a lot of effort. And what I've come to realize is that it's utterly natural to be connected to the divine. We've just we've fallen into some bad habits. In this case, the bad habit of disconnecting from the divine. So it can take some work. And the divine is available to help us, as are spiritual helpers, such as Bruno Gurney. You can always ask such beings for help. So let's reflect on this a little bit. The, the possibility, again, it's my experience, but until you've experienced it for yourself, I wouldn't expect you to believe it, that we're literally swimming in a sea of God, and that to stay connected to that is one of the most important things. But don't take my word for it, find out for yourself. Let's spend a little more time observing our bodies, having the intention to take this energy in, to be connected to the divine. Noticing what you feel, intending to take this energy in. having the intention, the will to be connected to the divine. And so let's imagine it's the day has begun. Well, the day has begun, but and you're watching your thoughts and you're doing your best to stay connected, maybe every now and then pausing, maybe observing your body as you go through the day. And there are decisions to be made. What is life but a series of decisions? Now, part of this is based on noticing which thoughts feel right and which thoughts don't. But sometimes there will also be times where just not sure what to do. And we need to pause and seek divine guidance. Life is at we, as human beings, we tend to think life is about doing what we want and getting what we want. But that's completely wrong. Life is about aligning ourselves with life and being in service to life. Asking life, what would you have me do? And when I say life, I mean with a capital L. And for me, life with a capital L is synonymous with God. That God is life, existence itself. So when we reach a decision, we need to tune into our heart, our soul, our conscience. Which decision is right? Again, you can ask the divine, you can ask a divine helper, such as Bruno Gruning. Ultimately, we want to ask ourselves, though, the deepest part of ourselves. Bruno Gruning spoke of it as our conscience. He said, which is our soul, which is where God, he said, where God lives inside each one of us. Clarity is what we're seeking. Clarity so we can make good choices. So let's reflect on that life is about decisions and choices. And then when we're unsure, we need to pause and ask for guidance and listen deep inside ourselves to the deepest part of ourselves. Gandhi said that the only tyrant, and I'll paraphrase here, but the only tyrant he would submit to was the still, quiet voice inside of himself. In essence, I believe that's how we all need to live. We all need to tune into that still, quiet voice, to our conscience, to our soul, and be guided by that. And we ask for help with that from God and from a spiritual helper we trust. Noticing what you feel, taking in this good energy, And lastly, to have an attitude of faith. When things don't go our way, which that's going to happen every day, if we're lucky, it'll only happen once or twice or three times a day. But every day we're going to face obstacles. Life is actually a school. And part of how we learn is through facing bumps. I mean, there are some days where everything just flows along, but let's face it, most days there are bumps. And how we face those bumps has a huge impact on life. If we contract with every single bump or challenge, we're not going to get very far in life. And I don't mean necessarily like have big achievements, but we're just not going to be well because life is just has challenge built into it. It's part of how we grow and learn. And so an attitude of faith and trust can change everything. I've come to the conclusion that everything is a gift from God, even the things I don't like, it's here for my growth. Now I have to apply that moment by moment. When something doesn't go my way, to really take to heart that this is actually a gift from God for my growth. It's not the easiest attitude to undertake, but what's the alternative? To not believe that is to believe in a chaotic, unfair, unjust universe. And that is very stressful. I've tried that. It doesn't work so well. So let's reflect on that faith. Taking the attitude that everything is guided by God, and that everything is part of an intricate plan for our learning and growth. There's my mindfulness bell. And so things such as that are great tools to just gently throughout the day call us back to seeking that sense of connection. Mine goes off every half hour. So how that's my understanding of how to start and how to live the day. Now, how to end the day. Well, before going to bed, it's very important to review the day. Bruno Gröning advised people to let the entire day run past their inner eye. Now, this sounds a little tricky, and it took a little practice, but now I'm able to do it quite well, and I'm shocked at the level of detail that I can remember. For example, I went for a walk this morning, and when I sit down to do the nighttime review, I'll be able to remember. I'm not to the point where I can remember every moment, but I can literally see in my mind all the details, which way I went, people who I interacted with. When I go for these walks, I tend to pick up things to recycle. If I see a bottle, and I'll be able to recall every significant detail and even some of the insignificant details. And that's taken some practice. But what's most important is then to notice the places where we made mistakes, regret the mistake, and resolve to do better next time. Because usually most of our mistakes are nothing more than a habit. It's generally not the first time we've made that particular mistake or that kind of mistake. So in doing the daily review, we start to become aware of the habits, the places where we're habitually acting wrongly, which of course cause harm to us and cause harm to others. They may be small, small things. Um, and the goal here is to be in alignment with life. So, I'm going to begin wrapping up. And so, to review, to start the day, fill yourself up with good energy. Then have a bowel movement and let go of the past from yesterday, and that has many health benefits. As you go through the day, watching your thoughts very carefully, striving to be connected to the divine, taking on an attitude of faith and trust, especially when things don't go our way, and ending the day with a review, noticing the ways that we fell short and resolving to firmly do them, to do better next time, so that we can begin to break all the little habits. Everyone has all sorts of little habits that don't serve them. And I like to take it as a time to really celebrate the things I did well and the things that went well, and to thank God for all the blessings I've experienced that day. So we'll close with a final quiet time. And if you have any special requests for yourself, you can ask the divine, ask your spiritual helper, ask for help to live this spiritual way. So I'd like to thank everyone who joined in live. I'd like to thank anyone who took the time to watch this video. What I've just shared have been life-changing principles for me, and I hope you find the willingness to apply them and see how it works for you. And we can always ask the divine. We can always ask helpers such as Bruno to help us find the willingness to grow and to deepen our spiritual life. Thank you so much for joining in. I wish you a day full of good energy, the divine connection, and magic flow and miracles. Take care. Much love.